I don't think it's something that we necessarily all need to be scared of and think it's going to cause the end of the world. It's comes with its risk. It also comes with its opportunities. We're working to think about it and position to be on the right side of that in terms of how we think about markets, how we think about the economy, how we think about what we do for clients to actually use it to enhance value.
This is the Realize Your Wealth podcast by Aretec Wealth. We want you to be wealthy. We want you to feel wealthy. We want you to realize your wealth.
All right, here we go. We're back. It's Friday. Another podcast, another weekly video update. I gotta ask though, Greg, how was the surprise party? Hopefully, last week didn't spoil it at all.
No, not at all. Surprise party went off without a hitch. My mom's an avid listener of the podcast, as you may imagine, but she wasn't getting up first thing on her birthday watching us. So the surprise wasn't spoiled, went off without a hitch. Weather was great, so it was all good. Thanks for asking.
That's good. Well, we're into the tail end of summer here. Things are kind of cooling off outside, but it's still nice. Hopefully people are still tuning in late August into the podcast to hear what's going on out there. But markets have been strong the last few weeks. I think July was one of these softer months, but we've seen some of the trends turn back around for our portfolio in particular. Commodities, materials, gold have been doing really well, which we've got a lot of correlation to. So things have been moving in the right direction the last 3 or 4 weeks, which is really good to see.
Yeah, our portfolio, our positioning has done really well in August, to your point, Will, which has been good to see. And I guess just to touch on that a little bit, has there been, a particular catalyst on why we're seeing that, or is it just maybe more seasonality or anything kind of in particular there?
I think, look, a little bit of a bounce back, certainly from what we saw in July. I think things calming down a little bit. I also think what you see with that gold trade is a lot of correlation with the U.S. dollar, which is getting weaker. Which that in of itself can be a little bit of a headwind. Sometimes not necessarily a tailwind, but that's being offset for us by gold and materials and precious metals, which are acting as a hedge against that. So things have been moving in the right direction. Market's been pretty healthy, which is good to see. I know there's still a lot of uncertainty and unknowns out there in the world. We still got things like trade talks going on. We got this on again, off again war that's happening as well. All sorts of things. We got things like U.S. midterms coming up, which a lot of clients will ask about. But I mean, there's never really a time in markets when there's not uncertainty and unknowns. But generally, what we're seeing is the trends are quite good. We've focused a lot this year on our positioning and working to be in the right pockets and right spots of the market to navigate through that and take advantage and manage some of the risks. So things are looking pretty good right now and moving in the right direction, which is good to see overall.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of those dominant trends that's been apparent this whole year, really, and maybe for the last couple of years or so, has really been kind of AI. And we've talked about this on the podcast before. It's been a dominant trend in the markets. It's also been a dominant theme in our daily lives. And that's kind of the idea of what we want to get into a little bit today here, Will.
Yeah, how to think about AI. So not certainly partly from an investment and a market and an economic perspective, but we also find a lot of clients and even our own conversations that just AI, the whole subject of it is overwhelming because it is a big technological technology revolution, evolution. It's a big change. It's a big paradigm shift. So it's how do you even begin to think about that, make sense of that when it comes to, yes, your money, your wealth, but also your life in general in terms of working and operating in this AI world. So what does it all mean? And we've seen the last few years, there's lots of positions and pockets of the market that very directly have benefited from AI, like not just the technology and semiconductor names that we've owned, but a lot of the kind of second order or complementary positions that are feeding into the AI theme is a big one. And I think when you look at that from a broader market context, when you have these technologies, I mean, this is certainly not the first time this has happened. I think the closest thing we can look at it historically is what happened with the internet, and what happened through the '90s and into the 2000s. So, not without risks when it comes to markets and investing in the economy, but it's also this massive opportunity of growth. And so, from one hand, we want to manage that from a market, an exposure perspective. On the same hand, it's a very interesting thing to think about, and we were joking around a little bit that I think now AI is getting to the point that it's gonna be like the internet at some point here, where if you don't know how to use the internet, you're probably gonna be left behind. So AI is getting to that point where, everybody's using it in some way. It's integrated in a lot of the things. Even when you do a Google search, it's popping up and
Mhm.
giving you AI answers. So, in the way that the internet, things like Yellow Pages and all these businesses that were, basically turned into dinosaurs, I think there's things that AI, has and is going to eliminate, because the way that internet communications and information became, very, easy to access, like general intelligence now is becoming, or artificial intelligence is becoming, very, very easy to access for anyone. So, what that's doing is creating ripples and changes, and because it's kind of like this next order, and we're right in the middle, it's tricky to make sense of it. So that's where we're going to talk a little bit how we're thinking about AI, how to think about AI, not necessarily what to think. It's such a vast topic, and we don't really even know where AI is going, but just how we're thinking about it, how to think about AI here.
Yeah, and Will, you kind of hit the nail on the head. AI has been a transformational technology. We're using it. We're hearing all about it. It's having ripple effects into the markets and then secondary sectors and kind of tertiary sectors. So it's all around us. So I guess maybe to set the stage and as a starting point, how should kind of clients, investors, and maybe just kind of everyday people be thinking about AI in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no reason to be. First off, there's no reason to be afraid of AI. I think there's a lot of uh, fears there, right? That it's, oh my god, are the machines gonna uh, take over the world? We're not in the camp. I'm not in the camp that I'm sitting there fearful of AI. I also think you don't want to sit there and be um, overly uh, optimistic and too blue sky about it. I think, like most things, you want to be realistic. Like, it certainly comes with its challenges, but there's also massive opportunities that are there in AI from a lot of different sources. So I don't think I don't think it's coming in and replacing all the humans, but it's certainly a disruptor because of this, um, generalized, intelligence it's able to do. I do think, some of the lower levels and lower levels of the economy are at risk, but at the same time, when you've got people that are very, very skilled, very good at what they do, provide a lot of unique value and thinking and creativity and strategy and that end of things. AI is not coming in and replacing that. So what I see AI to a degree is it some areas of the world, some people, it's gonna enhance it, other areas it's gonna disrupt it, and what we're trying to do from an investment standpoint is think about how we can be on the right side of that, because, similar to, the internet in the '90s, I don't think you wanna be on the wrong side of that from, an investment standpoint, a risk standpoint, or just state of the world adoption standpoint. You wanna be able to at least have, um, a foot in the door, so to speak. At the same time, does it mean that, everybody needs to be using AI all day, every day, and cutting edge tools and all those things? No, but it is a very powerful technology, and it's getting more and more powerful. So to ignore it entirely, I don't think is the right way to go about it. At the same time, I don't think, I think you want to be cautious about, not only from an investment standpoint, but how you use it so that it's not replacing your own thinking and own ability.
Yeah, so with AI as it stands now, would you kind of more think of it as like a tool in the toolkit as opposed to flat out replacing things at this point?
I mean, I think that's how most people are using it. They're using it as a tool, something they can reach on, something to enhance, something to ask questions, something that they can think things through or get in for information that they didn't know for research and those purposes, as opposed to okay, this is immediately replacing this or replacing that overall. I mean, I haven't seen much of that, but I know a lot of clients are using it for different questions, different queries, different things. And there's lot of power it can have in terms of whether it's research. I mean, from our standpoint, if we're doing financial wealth, retirement planning, our tools, our software will integrate that where we can look for tax efficiencies and estate efficiencies and drawdown optimizations. But I also think it's something if you don't already have a grounding, if you don't already have some ability or experience in a subject, it can be dangerous because you don't necessarily know when something's pointing you in the wrong direction or pointing you in the right direction. So it really artificial intelligence is generalized thinking. It's not going to replace human judgment or wisdom or thinking in that regard. And I think that's where it can be dangerous. Is it leading people down possibly the wrong path, not knowing where they're going with it?
And so to that point, Will, like with AI, I know it's this revolutionary technology. People were worried it's going to take over things, but to your point, you still need that human element to help make decisions and prompts, and you still need that intellectual thinking behind it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I think so, but I think when you have people that are good at what they do, it can potentially enhance that, right? So that some of the research capabilities are very, very powerful. There's no question. Some of the ways it can see things, it can be a very, very powerful tool, but it's got to be used in the right hands. So I don't see AI coming in and replacing all the humans. I think of it more as an enhancement, and it's similar to using maybe at one certainly at one point you're going to do think of a stock, right? You're going to do research on a particular company. At one point you may have had to pull a research report for somewhere or go to the library to go and do your research. Then it became looking it up on the internet. Now it's like you can look it up in AI like this. So that generalized knowledge is so fast to find, but you still need discernment and judgment and wisdom applied to it. But the actual research part largely becomes commoditized. So that's what's happening. That's why some companies out there, Thomson Reuters is a good example, where it was legal research and specialized software that you're going in and doing research on, and it's gotten hit really hard because AI now disrupts that, where you can pull all these this research, this information so fast, so quickly, stocks under pressure. So from an investment standpoint, the way we think about it is you want to be on the right side of that. The semiconductors, the chips is one thing. I mean, from an investment standpoint, how fast that goes is another question. But I mean, there's all these second order areas, whether it's the power generation and AI is an easy one, but also think we've talked a lot this year about real assets and commodities and positioning. The real world, when now you've got AI, all this artificial thinking intelligence, real world stuff is actually becoming more scarce and more valuable. And it's
Yeah.
needed all these parts into the chips, all the hard assets, all the commodities, everything is needed to power it. So certain areas become less valuable in the economy, other areas become more valuable. And that's what we're trying to focus on when we think about this is what areas like infrastructure becoming more valuable, power generation, all the industrial application areas that feed into the powering of this technology is another area. So the physical world, the real world, actually becomes more valuable. And to the point about AI replacing humans, I actually think real human relationships become more valuable in this world because the the more, I guess, transactional part or less valuable part of it, getting information becomes commoditized, right? Whereas real creativity and thinking and relationships end up becoming a lot more valuable. So there's areas that have become abundant, I guess, which is
Yeah.
that generalized intelligence and thinking. There's some areas that become scarce, and the areas that are scarce actually become more valuable. So point is, when thinking about it, yes, it's disruptive, but there's risks in areas that get disrupted, but there's also areas that are growing and are providing all these opportunities for investors.
So to your point, Will, those areas that are growing and providing opportunities for investors, you talked about kind of like hard assets, infrastructure, power. That's kind of what's happening in the real economy. Are we kind of distilling that down into the portfolio and gearing the portfolio more towards those areas?
I mean, trying to, right? And not a perfect science to make sense of that, but it's one way to think about it is those themes. I think those areas are certainly more valuable. Software is one, and not that I'm saying throw every software company out. We own Microsoft, which has been a great name and is still integrated in and is right in the AI ecosystem, but I think it's just it's changing the world. It's changing the way you want to think about the economy. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a new way of thinking about things and a new paradigm. And it's very, very interesting. And I do find that um, probably a lot of people are overwhelmed by it, right? Because it's like, what is this AI stuff? What's going on? And there's so many complications and iterations and trying to figure it out. No one really knows exactly where it's going other than to say that obviously this is a revolutionary technology. And I do think that as investors, as people, you want to be on the right side of that because otherwise you still be fine either way. But to be at least participating in that to a certain degree, I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be on the right side of the trade, so to speak, on that. So I guess just in general, Will, like, is there anything that just with AI that investors or everyday folks should be watching or thinking about, not to make big predictions, but just as we kind of stretch our thinking out into the future on this?
It's not a bad thing, right? I think of it in a lot of ways as an enhancement, as a tool. Some will even think of it as another team member, so to speak, right? That you can bounce ideas and thoughts off of. But I think of it as more of a tool, as an enhancement, something that makes can make you even better at what you do. At the same time, like again, not without risks, right? There's all sorts of things we're hearing from clients about. Okay, there's all this AI generated stuff that's out there that's confusing and don't know what to trust or what to believe when you're seeing content out
Yeah,
there and all
yeah.
those things. But again, all the more reason that there's AI generated content, all these things, all the more reason that a real relationship, someone you know and like and trust, is all the more valuable in this environment and world. So it's not to say to blindly adopt AI and follow it without risk. It's just to say I don't think it's something that we necessarily all need to be scared of and think it's going to cause the end of the world. It's comes with its risk. It also comes with its opportunities. We're working to think about it and position to be on the right side of that in terms of how we think about markets, how we think about the economy, how we think about what we do for clients to actually use it to enhance value, not only on the investments and the bottom line and the positioning and some of the names that we have in the portfolio, but also how we work, think about markets, think about portfolios and planning, think about interacting with clients. I'm certainly not an AI expert. I'm more one of these
Pretty good
others
though.
had to, others had to nudge me along, but I'm in the camp that we will have kind of a foot in there overall to play around with it. But it clearly is very powerful. We're also very cautious of the risks that are out there, and I think when you think of that from a market standpoint, we've seen the growth. Like look at the 2000s, look at the internet bubble. 99, 2000s. Same from an investment standpoint, that these AI type names are going to go up and up and up unchecked. That's why we've talked so much about value, about dividend, about hard assets, and not necessarily the more speculative part of it. So opportunity, risk, you want to have a good framework, because I think AI, the whole idea of trying to make sense of it, can be overwhelming to a lot of people. And so I think if you think about it the right way, you can go about your life and not not be stressed about it, not be overwhelmed, take advantage of it where it makes sense. Also watch out for some of the risks that it presents. But ultimately, we're thinking about AI. We're talking about how to think about AI, because we want you to be wealthy. We want you to be on the right side of that AI story when we look back 5, 10, 20 years from now, and say, okay, we were on the right side of that. We want you to feel wealthy, which also means you're not out there worried about AI, worried about the robots, worried about what's gonna happen with AI, and what they're going to be doing. We want you to realize your wealth. That's what we're all about. That's what Aretec Wealth is all about. So we'll be back with everybody next week, and have a great weekend.
Awesome.